Us now is Wisconsin Governor Scott Walker. He's also the chair of the Republican Governors Association. And welcome.
Good morning. Great to be with you.
It strikes me that the one area where governors might have the hardest time is dealing with Obamacare, simply because some have had to accept the Medicaid expansion, others haven't. Now the whole program seems to be up in the air, and this is a program that in many ways is being carried out at the state level already, Governor. So what kind of discussions are you guys having about how to continue to provide for health care for people living in the states while also trying to kind of wait or deal or support with whatever change to this program is coming out of Washington?
Well, I think the best thing the new president and the Congress can do is follow through on their promises. It's part of the reason why there's the highest number of Republican governors we've had since 1922, because we've followed through our promises, whether it's in Wisconsin or Michigan or Ohio or Florida or elsewhere. And when it comes to Obamacare, I think it's pretty clear. We want people to follow through on the promises here in Washington. That means getting rid of Obamacare, repealing it outright, and then coming back and putting in place a replacement that moves more towards a market-driven solution. At the same time, parallel to that, giving block grants to the states so that we can control Medicaid and do the kind of innovations we've done in Wisconsin. We're one of the best states in the nation in terms of coverage. We have what one foundation called no insurance gap, and we didn't take the Obamacare Medicaid expansion. We didn't set up the state exchange. Yet we have one of the lowest rates of uninsured in the country. We can do it elsewhere as well. Just give us the flexibility to do it state by state.
And is that one of the things you're doing in your new role at the Governors Association to kind of provide a blueprint for other states to follow your lead?
Well, not only Wisconsin, but each state is unique, and we've had great success around the country. And I think it's important, not only when it comes to health care, but many other issues, education, transportation, you name it, to put in a reminder here to our friends in Washington that one size doesn't fit all. In fact, it's very clear what our founders intended with the Constitution. They felt so strongly about it, they actually added an explanation point, as we call it, with the 10th Amendment. But we're much better. We're more effective, excuse me, efficient. We're more accountable at the state and local level. And the more that this president coming in, this vice president certainly is one of our former colleagues, and Mike Pence, and certainly the House and the Senate, people like Paul Ryan, who I've talked to for years, understand that much of what's concentrated in Washington would be better off in the state houses and with the people.
Still, there are some things that clearly are only going to be resolved at the federal level right now, and that includes tax reform. It may even include infrastructure and some of those big bills to come out of Washington. Are those things that you're a big supporter of, a proponent of, and what can the states do in the meantime, really?
Well, I think the two go hand in hand. If you look at the states that have had some of the greatest success over the last few years, it's states like Wisconsin and many others that have cut taxes. We cut taxes nearly $5 billion since we took office. We've now seen this last year more people employed in our state than ever before, the lowest unemployment rate in more than a decade and a half, and that's very common in many other states, particularly states led by Republican governors. Those are the sorts of things we want to see here. Not only cut and reform taxes here in Washington, but bring those American dollars back from overseas, cut the corporate tax rate so we're competitive again. That will help grow the economy not only across the nation, but state by state. And that means, I think, not only is it good for the country, it'll be good in 2 years when many of us, like myself, are up for election again.
Yeah, so what do you think should be, the first priorities of the administration here? Because on Wall Street, we've seen the initial kind of euphoria in the stock market go away a little bit as people are waiting for the timing and details of a lot of these plans. Are you concerned yourself that this might be a lot of talk and less action, or how should the new administration prioritize here?
No, I think, again, going back to the states, we've shown in states all across America we can do more than one thing at a time. We can handle structural reform of our government. We can handle legal and regulatory reform. We can handle tax reform and welfare reform and investments in infrastructure. We've done that not only in Wisconsin but across the country, and there's no reason why it can't be done here. We've got Dr. Price is going to be a great nominee as the great head, I should say. He's the nominee now as the Secretary of Health and Human Services. Dr. Price has got a great plan for repealing, replacing Obamacare. But you can do tax reform. Paul Ryan's talked about that for years, particularly when he chaired the House Ways and Means Committee. There are other big things that can be done. And do it in partnership with the states. We're ready and willing to help the federal government. We just got to work together.
Governor, you mentioned Tom Price's name, so I'll ask you, do you think he gets confirmed? And do you have a problem with the issue that many others have a problem with, and related to stock buys and sales?
I think in the end, he's well respected in the House by Republicans and Democrats because of the good work he's done. He's got a great medical background. I think he's exceptionally well qualified. You look at the rest of this cabinet. Betsy DeVos is going to be a great advocate for families. She trusts parents to make the right decision for their children. You look at right down the line. I was just over last month in Afghanistan, particularly with coalition forces. They love General Mattis. There's just such a great cabinet that Donald Trump has picked in large part because of the leadership of my friend Mike Pence and people like Reince Priebus and others that we very much admire. And I think they're going to do exceptionally well.
Sort of artfully answering the issue. Governor, thanks for joining us.